You told a story about you and BigL in a car going to get some work, and you started crying and talking about signing in the PC. And please explain that, because it's on the Art of Dialogue, so that means it's everywhere.
But first and foremost, I'll say this, man. When I heard that story, I was like, yo, this nigga's a blatant liar. I didn't know this. Blatant liar. That never happened. That's totally a lie. And I'm going to give you a little history on Dame and BigL first and foremost. But I'll say this. Even if Dame thought that, and BigL been dead for 26 years, you don't think that story would have came out somewhere? You don't think even Dame would have made a little joke with me one time like, yo, remember that time you started crying, Kim, when so-and-so, when we... So today, or whatever day, that's when the story comes out. Come on, Dame. Like, bro, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. And then what you do when you tell these bullshit lies is you implicate a nigga who dead so that they can confirm your story. So first of all, it's a straight lie. Now let me give you a little bit of history on BigL, Dame, and Lenox Avenue from 139th to 142nd Street. BigL didn't really fuck with Dame like that. He ain't hate him or nothing like that. They just didn't fuck with each other. The way the demographic goes is this for people who don't live in Harlem. I'm from 140th and Lenox. On the weekends, I used to go to 110th and First, and between First and FDR Drive, where my grandmother lived in 1199. And that's where I met Dame at, when I go see my grandmother on the weekends. Then I found out he hung out on 142nd Street. That's the dynamic. That's first and foremost. Dame is from the east side, I'm from the west side, but my grandmother lived on the east side. So BigL's career wasn't doing great, and Dame and Roc-A-Fella were kind of growing. But BigL was still a great lyricist, and niggas wanted to fuck with him. So Dame was like, yo, what's up? I can manage BigL, this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. So I plugged him in with BigL, and I told BigL, I'm like, yo, my man Dame doing his thing, he may want to manage you. And I knew that Jay-Z potentially wanted to sign him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all their relationship is. Me, Dame, and BigL never been no damn car together. We never rode to get no work. First of all, let me tell you something, man. Do it look like BigL, me, and Dame going to get some work, had some work in the car, any of that. It don't even, the hangout, the crew don't even sound right. Anybody that lived on 139th Street to 142nd Street during that time, know this don't even make no motherfucking sense. It sounds stupid. Secondly, BigL brother, Big Lee, and the other nigga who kind of, the big homies on my block, Reg, they didn't like Dame. Dame had a GS 300, black joint, and he had a white Camry. They used to let me drive when I was younger. And I would drive the Camry around and, this, that, and the third. So one day Dame pulls up on 139th Street and he's talking to me. And he pulls off, we talk about 5-10 minutes, because I knew I'd see him later. I had one of his cars. And Big Lee came up to me, he was like, yo, homeboy, yo, that nigga came over here to see you, the Dame nigga? And I was like, yeah, that's my man, that's my nigga. He's like, yeah, I don't like him, man. And I was like, you don't like him?
Damn.
Straight like that. He's like, yeah, I don't like him. I don't really want to see him over here like that. And then I'm like, all right, cool. Because I couldn't have did shit, At that time, I was like, damn. All right, Dame, it ain't like Dame come over here anyway. And then Reg co-signed it another day, like, yo, what's up with the Dame nigga, man? That's his car you driving? I was like, you're talking about the Camry. I'm like, nah, I lied because I didn't want the niggas try to take the car from me. These was my niggas, but you couldn't trust these niggas. I could trust Reg a little more than Lee. Like, Reg was my man. But I'm not going to sit there and say that it was Dame car. These niggas killed a nigga. I ain't going to say the nigga name. They killed a nigga from 40th over a lease before when I was about 12, 13 years old. And I'm like, yo, these niggas killing niggas over a lease. And they grew up with the nigga. Hell no, I ain't letting niggas know this Dame car. So now they want to know what kind of cars Dame is driving, so on and so forth. So I'm like, yo, listen, man, I ain't even going to tell Dame to come over here anymore because it ain't like Dame could pull up on 40th or 39th Street and just walk in that park. Nobody could at that era. If you ain't know somebody or you was coming to see somebody during that time, late 80s, early 90s, even into the late 90s, you could not just pull up on 39th and sit in the park unless it was like a park jam or something going on a regular day. Nah, bro. You had to be a member just about. You really had to be a member. I'm talking about even if you lived in the neighborhood. You couldn't just be pulling up, chilling out in the park. You had to know somebody to come in there. That's just the way it was. So I wasn't worried about Dame coming back over there. But I knew Lee and them niggas didn't like Dame. And I was like, damn, man, I'm just not gonna have Dame come over here no more. So if Dame was riding around, and Big L didn't really care for him either, they would have booked you, nigga, if we had bricks in the car or something like that. L would have made a call and you would have got booked. Straight like that. But the whole shit was just a lie. And I was more disappointed that you would pick Big L as opposed to one of your homeboys. And I ain't gonna name your homeboys, but you got a million homeboys. You could have been like, right, that happened, so-and-so, right, that happened, so-and-so. You picked a dead nigga to tell the story because you know it's nobody can back what you're talking about besides me. And Big L was my man before he was your man. You sound stupid. And I'm disappointed. I'm ready to give you a lie detector test, nigga. Secondly, he talking about we never sold drugs together. We did. We didn't. I never said I sold drugs with you. I used to ride around with you when you was taking drugs to Brooklyn or other places or whatever. The one time that we was going to cook up some work, because I had a spot, shout out to my man Howie Long on 137th Street. He told me that I could put some work on his block. He had a little situation over there in the 90s. And we went to get some work, and we got to your crib, and we pulled the coffee pot out, about to cook it up, and your baby mom called, Boogie's mom. And she was like, yeah, I know you a drug dealer. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but Dane was just on her phone like, I've never sold drugs. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a drug dealer while he's packing the work up. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, yo, this bitch must have been following us. I'm like, what the fuck going on? He said, this bitch talking all this drug shit. And what he did was he called Mo from B Building. Shout out to the niggas in 1199. Called Mo or Kev. Either Mo or Kev, I believe it was Mo, to come grab the work that we was about to cook up in his crib because he thought his baby mother called the cops on him. So it never panned out. You know, you sit here and see him be praising Duke the guy like, yo, Duke's a soldier, Duke did this. I plugged him with Duke. They never talk about that. Me and Dame riding around, he got to work and he like want to put crackheads in the car, following the crackhead in the cab, and we following the crackhead, this, that, and that. I'm like, yo, you know my man got a license. Duke was like 15, 16 with a license because you could get your license at 15 in South Carolina. And people know Duke.
Yes, you can.
Shout out to my man Duke the guy. So he like, your man got a license. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna plug you into him. So I plugged him into Duke, and Duke started driving around with the work, taking it to Brooklyn or wherever else it needed to go. And that's how their relationship built. And I was happy about that. I'm happy that Duke was getting some money, and Dame found the nigga that he could trust, that he didn't have to keep putting fucking crackheads in cars and following them. So fast forward, when the labels start jumping off years and years later, and you know, I wasn't with Dame, with Roc-A-Fella at the time, but I bump into Dame and I'd be like, yo, you should give Duke a job, man. That nigga put some pain in. That nigga, he ain't asked no questions. He just did what he had to do. You should get that nigga a job. That nigga was thorough. He said, well, Duke's a good soldier. I don't know if he's intelligent enough to work at the office or anything like that, but he definitely was a good soldier. He's one of them niggas, definitely official. Well, what about the job? The nigga, you throw shit in the trunk and he asks no questions, and you can't even see if he get enough for a job. You know, working in the office is one thing, being a soldier is a whole nother thing. All right, cool, my nigga. That I hear you. That's a fact. Ask Duke if you want. I know, and that's just a testament because they always talk about how he's thorough and you never wonder how they met each other. That's how they met each other.